Knock, knock. Who's there? Boo. Boo-hoo. Why are you crying, silly? It's Halloween. Good afternoon and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick Drago. Putting all terrible jokes aside, I'm here to talk to you more about all the fun sports things that happened this weekend. Like Tony La Russa being hired as the White Sox manager. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. Giancarlo Stanton made a decision on where he's going to be playing next year. And of course, we have to talk about all of the NFL games from this weekend. So stick with us, friends, because sports starts now. And welcome to the Sports Podcast with me, your host, Nick Drago. For those of you that are new to the program, hello. Welcome. I like to talk sports on this thing. In case you've never been here before, I guess that would be the reason why I'm welcoming you. Don't talk to me. So we like to talk about all the sports news and information from the previous week while giving you some insight on what's going to happen over the next week, month, year, etc. And boy, doozy Hauser, do we have a show for you today. Let's start by talking about some of the NFL games from this weekend. You know, it's the only big sport that's actually happening right now. And by big sport, I mean the big four, right? That's usually where it focuses. First of all, how was your Halloween? Mine was pretty good. Let's see, I had two different costumes. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. Yeah, there we go. For those of you watching our YouTube page, and my phone's dropping and making all these noises. For those of you watching us on YouTube, you probably just saw me tilt my camera. For those listening to the podcast version, you're probably looking for me thinking, what's going on? That's right, you can find us on podcasts, on all your favorite podcasting apps, such as Spotify. Yup, we're there. IHeart Radio, Apple, Google, we're on there, folks, so keep your eyes out for us. Sorry, that was me clearing my throat. And now I'm thoroughly embarrassed by whatever noise just came out of my mouth. All right, can we talk sports now before I start laughing? All right. By the way, if you like what you hear, you can find me on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. Just type in sports with Nick Drago. You can also email me directly, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. All right. Falcons and Panthers on Thursday night. The Falcons got their second win of the season, thankfully, 25-17. Vikings got a surprise win over the Packers, 28-22. You know the Pack is going to come out swinging next week because that is not the result they were looking for. Bengals and the Titans. Bengals got a win over Tennessee, 31-20. Yeah, it's funny, too, because Fitzpatrick and Henry have been like the most dynamic duo in the last 2 years that I can't believe they lost to the Bengals today, but good for Cincy, good for Joe Burrow. All right, the Chiefs and the Jets, my poor Jets. The Chiefs won 35-9. Exactly what I expected to happen. Chiefs got a win there at 35-9. I think let's just to see what the stats were here. Pat Mahomes, 416 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's like rock bottom. Like that. Oh my God. Colts got a big win over the Lions, 41-21. Steelers remain undefeated, beating the Ravens, 28-24. Honestly, with the Ravens defense and Lamar Jackson being Lamar Jackson, I highly expected the Ravens to come out with the win here, but man, Pittsburgh is here to play this year, so keep your eyes on them as the season, as we get to the second half of the season. Dolphins beat the Rams 28-17. Bills getting their first win over the Patriots in six straight games, right? 6 straight games they haven't beaten the Patriots. 24-21. Is that 6 games or 6 years? No, I'm sorry. It was a 7-game losing streak. So congratulations to the Bills. Well deserved. As a Jets fan, I know how hard it is to beat the Patriots. Now, by the way, they won that game after Cam Newton fumbled fumbled very much late. I think the Patriots were ahead, and then Bills took advantage and got the W. All right, Raiders beating the Browns 16-6. This was a great win for Derek Carr. You know, he's traditionally never played well in sub 45 degree weather. He had 112 yards and a touchdown. Not great, but good enough to get them the victory. By the way, if you're looking for a very hilarious play, they attempted the Raiders attempted a field goal early in the game. I think it was a 41-yard attempt, right? Ball goes straight up. It looks like it's going to the uprights, and then just takes like a 90-degree turn, hits one of the uprights, and bounces right out. It's quite comical. So they managed to get the win despite a terrible, terrible attempt at a field goal. Broncos get the win over the Chargers, 31-30. Denver was losing 21 points. 21 points in the fourth quarter. Good for Denver. The Bears and the Saints, they're in overtime right now. 23-20 overtime. The Saints? Okay. 23-23. So we'll come back to that game in a moment. Seahawks got a win over the 49ers, 37-27. Tonight we have the Cowboys and the Eagles. Honestly, I'm not expecting a fantastic game. Eagles, I see the Eagles as the better team here, most because the Cowboys don't have a quarterback right now, right? Dalton's out, Dak is out. So I'm going with the Eagles on this one. Those of you listening to the podcast, at this point, the game's probably already over, and you know ahead of me. So, I don't know, was I right? Was I wrong? Email me, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com, and you can yell at me for how terribly wrong I am. And then you have Buccaneers and Giants tomorrow. I can't wait tomorrow. The Giants will probably lose. All right, looking at the standings right now, Buffalo is on top of the AFC East. They're 6-2. Miami 4-3. This is like Bizarro world looking at that. New England's 2-5, and the Jets are 0-8. Hello, Trevor Lawrence. We're looking at you, first pick in the draft, buddy. All right, AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 7-0, followed by the Baltimore Ravens. They're 5-2. Cleveland's 5-3, and the Bengals are 2-5. AFC South, you have Tennessee is 5-2, tied with the Colts 5-2. After Colts got a big win today, and Tennessee had a big loss. Houston, they're 1-6, and Jacksonville is also 1-6. And then you have the AFC West, in which Kansas City is 7-1, followed by Vegas. They're 4-3. Denver's 3-4, and the Chargers are 2-5. Moving on. Let's see who would be the who'd be in the playoffs right now. If the playoffs were to start right now, right? Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Kansas City would be your top dog teams. Baltimore 5-2 and Indianapolis at 5-2 would be your two wild cards. So you got a lot of good clubs there. All right, looking at the NFC West. The NFC East, and this is the most interesting division of all. Philly is 2-4-1. Washington's 2-5. Dallas is 2-5, and the Giants are 1-6. Again, tonight's game could change the dynamic in that division. If Dallas wins, they'll be in first. If Philly wins, they'll solidify first place. So we'll see what happens there. In the NFC North, Chicago is 5-2. That could change with today's game. Green Bay is 5-2. The Lions are 3-4, and the Vikings are 2-5. NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on top. All right, Tom Brady. New Orleans is 4-2. Carolina's 3-5, and the Atlanta Falcons are 2-6. And then the NFC West, you have Seattle is 6-1. Arizona's 5-2. The Rams are 5-3, and the 49ers are 4-4. 49ers, by the way, losing Jimmy Garoppolo again. Jimmy G is, poor guy's injured once more. It was his ankle. He re-injured his ankle. And so with that, by the way, the Saints just won 26-23 off a field goal. Saints won. So with that now, Nick Mullins will step in once again as 49ers QB, and he did a pretty decent job the last time this happened. You know, this might be the year that 49ers just give up on Jimmy Garoppolo. He's been there a couple of years. He's shown flashes of greatness, but either he can't stay healthy or the team just wasn't together when he was healthy. So, it's just not the same. Let's see. We talked about Derek Carr. We can cross that off, that one there. And Trevor Lawrence, by the way, I did mention him and the Jets in the number 1 pick. There is a meme floating around about him calling the Jets a trash-ass team. First off, that's a weird thing to say, right? But that is not true. That's fake news for all of you Facebook aficionados. I'm telling you now, it's not real news. So get that out of your head. Can we move on to baseball? Let's move on to baseball. Tony La Russa. The man has not coached a baseball team in 9 years. Now, granted, he's one of the winningest coaches in MLB history. I think he's top 3, I want to say. Over 2,800 wins. The last couple of years he was with the Diamondbacks for a little bit in their front office. So the White Sox needed a guy, and La Russa is the guy. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, the White Sox haven't really done much in the last couple of years. They have a very young, talented team, and I feel like I say that every season. But with the right coach, they could succeed. The problem is lately in baseball, right? And I say this a lot. You have 2 styles of coaches. You have the yes man who will just do whatever the eggheads up top, the statistical guys will tell him to do. Your Aaron Boones, your AJ Hinches, those type of guys. And then you have, or Gabe Kapler, he's a good example recently. But then you have your old school, your Dusty Bakers, Joe Girardi, who don't really care what the folks up top have to say. They're your classic old baseball guys. La Russa is one of those guys. Will he mesh well with the young core players in the White Sox? Are they going to want to listen to what he has to say? I don't know. But nonetheless, I think this is a great move for Chicago. Maybe it puts them on the map. I don't know. We'll find out. 2021 MLB season. Could there be some changes on the horizon? Well, this year there were a lot of crazy new rules that came up, right? You had the designated hitter in the National League. They expanded the active roster to 26 players. The minimum 3 batter rule for relievers, right? Those are actually going to be permanent. The minimum 3 batter rule, sorry, not the National League. Active roster of 26 players and the minimum 3 batter rule for relievers. I believe those are going to be permanent changes to the game. But there were some other ones. Designated hitter in the National League, having a runner on second in overtime, doubleheaders, shortening doubleheaders to 7 innings, and even expanding the playoffs. Are any of those changes going to be permanent? Don't hold your breath if you're a National League DH fan. I'm an American League guy, right? But anyone I know who follows the National League will probably tell you there's no way they're going to do that. And I have to agree. They're not making that change. It's not going to happen. Sorry, I'm like burping and hiccuping in my head here. I had a lot to drink last night, so bear with me, friends. But there is heavy talks right now of expanding the playoffs. Now, 16 teams made it in this year, and it was kind of exciting. Maybe a bit much. There were talks on the table that it could possibly be 14 teams. The way it would work might be similar to this year, where you have probably 2 teams get a bye. The other remaining teams will play in a 3-game match. I think that would be kind of fun to see. All right, Giancarlo Stanton, one of the highest paid players in the game. I can't say he's highest anymore because he's just not. But he is actually going to remain with the Yankees. He had an opt-out option. He could have been a free agent. He's going to remain with the Yankees on his $218 million deal. And why the heck wouldn't he? He's had 2 injury-riddled seasons. Stats are good. He was clutch in the playoffs this year for New York. But I don't think he's going to command a contract that big, right? I just don't see it. So, there you go. All right, hockey time. Blues are, after losing Vladimir Tarasenko, right, the St. Louis Blues are talking about a possible trade with the Florida Panthers for Mike Hoffman. He'd give him the nice little scoring bump they're going to need. The Blues are still very much a contender right now, especially, they won the Cup 2 years ago. They have a fantastic team behind them. So pay attention to Mike Hoffman's name. It could be coming up in trade rumors over the next few weeks. PK Subban is another name I would pay attention to, right? He's only 31 years old, by the way. I just, for some reason, I just felt like he was older. Now, he's sort of like lackluster with the Devils, but of course, nobody's paying attention to the Devils much right now. Put him on a good team. He's a great leader. Helped lead Nashville to the Cup Finals in 2016. 2016. That's right. That's definitely right. Is that right? I don't think that's right. Anyway, it might be 2017. I think it was 2017 when they lost to the Penguins. Either way, he's an expensive player for the Devils, and he could be a great player for somebody else. So it's very possible that Subban could be on the move. All right, Ron Francis was named the GM of the Seattle Kraken, the new expansion NHL team that you're going to hear a lot about as we get into next season. No word yet on a coach, though, and apparently Francis is taking his time. Ron Francis was manager for the Carolina Hurricanes for a very long time. He knows what he's doing. What I hope that the Kraken does is follow the same suit that the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the same expansion draft strategy as the Golden Knights. What really worked for them, they had players that worked well together. I remember hearing the roster and thinking like, okay, they got some pretty darn good players, but didn't expect them to. They made it to the finals in their first year. Was not expected at all. If they could find a way to get that, and it's so hard to do something like this, but to follow that same game plan, right? Get those players, maybe some with a chip on their shoulder, right? Turn them into a team. You got a leg up, I think, on the competition, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's calling the Golden Knights GM and getting some info from them. All right, Hockey Hall of Fame is going to delay their 2020 inductions until November 2021. So this year's inductees of the Hall of Fame and next year's will both get in at the same time. That was the only other major news. All right, NBA, a lot of things coming up for the 76ers. So Daryl Morey signs a 5-year deal to be the Sixers president. Elton Brand gets an extension. I don't know if that was warranted, but okay. If 76ers are looking for something to jolt them forward, and it's very likely that they could pull in another big free agent name. Right now, I just think the combination of Harris, Simmons, and Embiid, it's not working. You need a leader with that team. And so that means that Chris Paul, who's been referenced with almost every other team in the league as somebody that apparently the Thunder are looking to trade, even though he magically led them to the playoffs last year. They would not have gotten there without him. Chris Paul could be that guy, and it could be an enticing move for him, too, going to the East, playing with some superstar talent. So keep your eyes open for Chris Paul to be making his way to Philly. Possible. Who knows? All right. Last but not least, January, right? That's the month right now. We're expecting NHL to come back. We're expecting NBA to come back. Basketball and hockey. If basketball waits until January, it is estimated that it would cost the league up to $1 billion in revenue loss. What does that tell you, right? Sometimes with these things, Joe Calabro, who's been on the show many times, likes to use the phrase "follow the money." So here's where they sit. Okay, they're going to lose $1 billion if they wait until January to start. It's obviously too soon to start next week, right? This is right around the time that the NBA would be starting up again. Is November, but you might start hearing the butter churning on NBA coming back early December, mid-December seems more likely. That's really not that far away. For some of these teams, you have to remember, the season just ended, but for some of these teams, They haven't played in like 6 months. The Knicks, the Wizards were in the bubble. Who else? The Bulls, right? The Warriors. God, the Warriors haven't played in 6 months. They'll actually have an advantage because they'll be well rested. All their superstars are coming back, and they have the number. Well, no. They did the lottery, right? Yeah, they have that number 2 pick. By the way, the NBA draft is coming up in just a few weeks too. So I'd imagine they're going to try and hammer down details before the draft as to when the season will start up again. Because then you're going to have to do training camps and everything else. Shortened camp isn't always the best idea. Players get injured. So my thought here is, and I spoke about this last time, Christmas Day. Christmas Day is a big revenue generator for the NBA. So if they can at least be there Christmas Day, New Year's Day, that's a good chance for them to make up some of that money. There's no way they're starting the season on time. They'd have to start tomorrow. Training camps would have already been rolling right now. And that's really important. You don't want your star players getting injured because they're the ones that make you the money. Okay, moving on to the end of the show. Guys, it has been a hilariously fun time chatting with you today. I know it's short right now. Like, our episodes are short because there's really no sports going on except for football. And so everything else is just kind of like speculation and rumors and all that blah, 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 blah. I just want to say a quick congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I like to say that through my teeth. Actually, I was rooting for them over the Rays for obvious reasons. And, congratulations to the Dodgers. Well deserved. I mean, they've been to 3 World Series in the last 4 years. Highest payroll in baseball. It was bound to happen at some point. I would have hated it like 2-3 years ago, but now, yeah, okay, good for the Dodgers. That's fine. The Yankees were already out anyway. And God, as long as it wasn't the Astros or the Red Sox, couldn't have cared less. All right, friends, special thanks as usual to Johanna Drago. She is the content editor and logo designer for this podcast. The music here for the show is a song called Golden Sunrise by Josh Woodward. A link to his website can be found in the show notes. And, of course, special thank you to our social media warriors. Is that how you do an echo? I don't know. Mary Kay Albert and Gary Albert, and of course Jorge Pajares listens to the show. He's always a fan. Joe Calabro, Brandon Madonia, anybody else out there. If you're a fan of the show, let me know. You can email me, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Again, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. You have a suggestion? You have something you want me to say? I'll just do it. I don't even care. What was it again? sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. I should start checking that, shouldn't I? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And you should also find me on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook, all those fun, delightful apps that you love to use. I love them. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on all your favorite podcasting apps. But here's what you do. You go and type in sports with Nick Drago. Then you go to a friend. Find one friend and be like, hey, are you listening to this guy? Sports with Nick Drago. Subscribe them. Just steal their phone when they're not looking. It's okay. It's perfectly legal to do that. Right? I don't know. If it's illegal, email me, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, like, comment, share, Twitter, subscribe, and all the fun stuff on social media. Friends, as usual, it is a pleasure to serve the community by using my fat mouth to talk about men who are much more athletically gifted than I am. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful evening. Caw-caw!